Hey everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me on our leadership development journey this week, which is all about multi unit leadership skills. So, I've been spending the better part of this past year really getting in the weeds on some leadership development for the regional director position in a large franchised restaurant organization. And as a part of that coaching that I'm doing with these incredible market leaders, we have been following the works of Jim Sullivan, specifically the multi-unit leadership, the 7 stages to building profitable stores across multiple markets. And why I chose this book, number one, I think it's probably one of the best. If you were going to pick a textbook for building regional leadership skills, this is probably the book you would go to. Jim is a brilliant mind when it comes to multi-unit leadership. He has, taken this theory and this training to amazing companies like Walt Disney, Walmart, Domino's, Panera Bread, Coca-Cola. The list goes on and on and on of organizations that have brought this education on board for their regional leaders because it really does have some very tactical teachings that help individuals make that jump from a single unit operator into a regional position, which I happen to think is one of the most challenging jumps you'll make in a career in operations, whether that's retail, hospitality, restaurants. Going from a single unit operator to oversight of a number of locations is really, really difficult. So I really love this book. I've read it a number of times. I've been through his teachings as well. And for me, I just think it was one of the most profound investments in my self-learning at that stage in my career. So really excited to be able to share that with some really amazing folks this year. So I'm going to break this series down. It's actually going to take us a couple of weeks or just over a couple of weeks to get through it because there's 7 key principles that Jim talks about in this book. So 7 key areas where regional leaders, if you display these 7 attributes or, live out these 7 principles in your work as a regional leader, chances are you're going to find some great success. So we're going to dive in. Today's video, we're going to talk about principle number 1, which Jim calls the brand ambassador. And what this means, there's kind of 3 key takeaways that I have from this section of the book. And the first is really about you got to have a passion and a purpose for the work that you're doing as a regional leader. You have to walk your talk. You have to really care about the brand, the business, the work that you're doing, but also you have to care about the folks that work in your region, in the stores or the restaurants or the hotels or whatever that business unit is. You have to really care about the experience of your guests and your customers, yes, but also you have to care about the experience of your team members that work for these individual business units. I used to work for a real smart guy that used to say, this was in the restaurant industry, he used to say, the guest experience cannot outweigh the experience of our teams. And that really speaks to me about being a brand ambassador. It's not just for your guests and your customer, but it's for the folks that work in your business units as well. So that's kind of the first thing that really stood out for me. The second thing about being a brand ambassador is really this idea that multi-unit leaders, as you're visiting, different stores or restaurants or visiting the different business units throughout your days and weeks, you have to be the one that brings the energy into the business unit, not the one that takes it away. I mean, gosh, for anybody that's worked in retail or hospitality, you've probably experienced like, oh my goodness, the regional director, the regional manager, there's a number of titles for this position. They're coming to the store today, so we got to get everything cleaned and everything has to be perfect. And don't forget to smile and don't forget to follow the 17 steps of service. Like we from these industries, we have lived through what visits like that feel like from your regional leadership, and they are certainly anything but inspiring and motivating. So, I really agree with the sentiments that the regional leader, you got to bring that energy with you when you walk in the door. You got to bring the vibe, bring the energy, bring the motivation. because the team feeds off of that. Don't be someone that takes the energy away, where people are like holding their breath and just, trying to be on their best behavior. They feel like they're on pins and needles. There's another great book. It's called How Full Is Your Bucket? That really talks about this idea of, as a leader, you have one of two choices. You're either somebody that fills people's buckets, you bring energy, you excite people, you motivate them, you make them feel good, or you're somebody that punches a hole in that bucket and, drains out all the energy, all the positivity. Not the type of leader that I'm sure we're aspiring to be. So be a bucket filler, not a bucket drainer. The last thing that really stuck out at me for the brand ambassador principle, and there's a number of things. If you read his book and his teachings, you'll really get in the weeds there. But I really like the way Jim talks about in a number of sections of this book, just being habitually consistent. That is what the best brands in the world do for their guests and for their customers. They deliver a very consistent experience, whether you are in East Coast Canada or, right here in Mexico City. Brands have gone global. And I think that the regional leadership position is so incredibly critical for this purpose. They need to bring that focus on consistency through their actions, being habitually consistent themselves. So, brand ambassador. Have passion and purpose for the work you do. You have to walk your talk. You've got to put as much passion and purpose towards the guest experience that you do towards your team experience, because that's what a brand is. It's not just your guests and your customers, it's the folks that work for you as well. Bring energy, don't take it away. Be the type of regional leader that when you show up at the restaurant, you amp up the energy. You shine a light on all the amazing things that are happening in the business that day, not somebody that focuses only on the critical, that kind of saps energy out of the building. And then be habitually consistent. Do what you say you're going to do. Focus on the details. Coach the small things consistently from visit to visit to visit, no matter the store, no matter the region. You will be well on your way to becoming a brand ambassador. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys in a couple of days where we will talk about multi-unit leadership principle number 2, which is all about being a talent scout. See you soon.